Now, what are the problems that we face in terms of resolving this crisis, this monster that rears its head, ugly head, all over our country, that roars in the country, this lion that has overwhelmed and obliterated our systematic process? Nigeria gets into trouble every year, every day by day. Problems upon problems. It's very difficult almost to see a good news on a Nigerian newspaper. When you look at the headlines, it's all about problems, trouble upon trouble, lack, underdevelopment, destruction, arson, recklessness, corruption, murder, killing, death. That's what you see in the newspapers of Nigeria. Very unfortunate. I can tell from my own opinion that the problem of resolving this whole thing is basically about leadership knowledge. Most of our leaders were not prepared for the power. Some of them were 20-something years old, occupying high positions of authority, 30-something years, 40 years. Look at Babangida, Abacha. Gowon in those days was quite young. They were in charge of the country. How would they think about diversity management? That has always been there from the beginning. Our founding fathers warned seriously about this factor, but they didn't take it seriously up till now. Why is it that we are still in this trouble? Is it because our leaders are not interested or they don't know? Is it because of ignorance? I think ignorance, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding of the factors associating with resolving the crisis of diversities, ineptitude. Because why would we know that we have a problem, that this is the cause of the problem of our society, and yet we are unable to solve the problem, and nobody is interested in resolving the problem? Is it because it's surrounded by, it's determined by democratic principle? Perhaps because democracy on its own is like being foisted on us by the colonial masters, because they deliberately did that, foisted democratic principles on us as a religion of governance, because they know it will fail for their own benefit. Yes, this is what I am saying. The colonial masters knew that Nigerians were not going to be able to manage their diversities based on democratic principles. The multi-party system that we run today, the electoral system that we run, will never allow the minority to have a breathing space. No fair playing ground for the minority, from the federal to the local government councils. They knew that it wouldn't work. Otherwise, why did they make their own communities or countries look like Nigeria? This is deliberate, for their own benefit, for political exigency. And we buy into it because we have their puppets. They have their puppets here. These are puppeteers somewhere controlling the system with just a single drop of word called democracy. And tell me, why can't we jettison democracy and find a new way out? Why can't we actually find our own way? Anyway, most of us have been working on that. I personally have been on this topic for all my youth age, almost. Some people are now making mockery of me. This thing you started for over 20 years, when are you going to finish it? Imagine resolving diversities management in Nigeria that has been there for centuries. and in 20 years you resolve it with a solution. It's not easy. Yeah. It's a point of concern to me. I started in the year 2000, actually, when I had the opportunity to meet with Audu Ogbe, the first PDP chairman. My uncle took me to Audu Ogbe. I remember very vividly. I went with him to meet Audu Ogbe somewhere in a plaza in Lagos. And I presented him with my very first proposal in life, computerized party administrative system for PDP, because my background is computer science. That was when I joined politics. So I got exposure into political requirements, political demands, the political landscape and theories. From there, I began to look into the topic of diversities management. I never knew it was what I was looking for. I was looking for the reason why Nigeria is underdeveloped, why Nigeria cannot succeed. I was looking for the reason to find out why Nigeria is the way it is, or the way it was then. You can imagine now. In 1999, year 2000, I'm talking about. I got so worried as an individual that I had to dive into this way. Politics occupied my mind. And I took up on this subject matter. Not until I listened to the video that presented President Olusegun Obasanjo, where he addressed the international community in London on the 15th of October 2019. When I heard him speak that the real problem of Nigeria and Africa is in the mismanagement of their diversities and population, it just clicked. I just got the message. From my research work, some other people joined me in the year 2010. We formed an organization. We formed an NGO to embark on a research work in Nigeria on inclusive development, inclusive growth and development. Since 2010, we did that research for a number of years within the period that President Jonathan was in power. Eventually registered the concept as an idea in Nigeria. We called it I-Code, the Integrated Codes of Development Equation, as a solution for the management of diversities and population. So this we've been doing for ages, and at the end of the day, I had to put it in a documentation. After my studies at the University College Dublin as an expert on geopolitics and the global economy, I was able to put up a document of the research and development work that we did on the management of diversities and population. The book will be launched very soon and for the public consumption. Very interesting book for you to study and understand how this whole thing is. We actually had to go as far as printing the solution as well, because we had to work very hard. So we have the problems and the solutions to diversities, mismanagement or management in that book. Because in the long run, we had to come up with an output for an operating system for the management of this monster. The management of the mismanagement of diversities is the monster itself, not the diversities. It's a beautiful thing. It's very colorful. It's something that is supposed to bring development, increased development and beauty into our society. Imagine the multiplicities of cultures during festivals. That's how amazing diversities could be. Awesome. But we lost it in the governance system. We lost the dimension of its purpose in the governance system. Therefore, we need to work hard. We need to gather as a country and look into this issue that is drowning us, that has bedeviled the society that we live. Nigeria has been in trouble for a long time because of this factor. We need to help ourselves. We need to do something. I align with President Jonathan and President Olusegun Obasanjo, who suggested that there should be education for the leadership. In fact, in the words of President Jonathan, we should have a leadership academy where young people can be prepared to lead tomorrow. This is a very interesting aspect of our development in Nigeria.